Hey, I'm doing this short video because I'm kind of bummed out tonight because of all these friends and relatives of mine that are getting sick right now. Wrote them on a piece of paper, and I got like seven names there that are pretty sick right now. In fact, one just died recently. They're relatives, former classmates of mine, or friends. And they're all got serious autoimmune diseases, to include cancers, which are autoimmune diseases. And I wish I could help them with the miracle kind of medication that I'm on. I've been trying to educate some of them, or many of them anyways, about this medication, but I just haven't been able to get through to them. Been unsuccessful so far. And the only difference between them and me is that I've taken this drug for 4 years. In fact, I was extremely sick when I was just before taking the medication back in January or March of 2012. I was at my worst, I think. And had I not found this drug, low dose naltrexone, LDN for short, I'm pretty sure that wouldn't be here in this independent and living independent like I am now. I'd be very much likely in a wheelchair in an assisted living facility, not being able to take care of myself. So that's the dramatic effect it's had on me. But the other things it's done for me, because I was very sick, always sick, with this and that beforehand, and because of a weakened immune system, which is why these people are my friends and relatives are getting sick, is because they're all aging, and they're all in their 50s and 60s, all of them. And when you get to that age, your immune system basically starts to falter. You don't produce enough of what they call endorphins. Endorphins are very key to your immune system, and if you don't produce enough of them during the day, your immune system starts to has a negative effect, very negative effect on your overall immune system and health. And you end up getting sick, and not only sick, you get increasing chance to get very serious autoimmune diseases, such as lupus, and what I have is Hashimoto's disease, or RA, or MS, or Parkinson's, like Muhammad Ali had. All these are autoimmune diseases. You can have a better chance as you get older and a weakened immune system. You get those kind of diseases, and also you can also get cancers, which is most of the people that I'm on my list of 7 are succumbing to cancers, and which has a devastating effect on your life. It could end your life very much if you, even with the treatments that are out there, the conventional treatments that are out there, that don't work too well, and in my opinion, because they involve doing damage to not only do they kill the bad cells, they end up killing the good cells as well, and that's part of the problem. Sometimes you end up dying from your chemo treatment as opposed to the cancer itself. So because of the destructive process of the chemo and radiation treatment. But I understand they do have in some circumstances, they can target the cancers today. If it's the right type of cancer, they can actually have a better chance of targeting the radiation chemotherapy. But that's not always the case. Sometimes they have to use the more blanket approach for many cancers, and it ends up doing destruction to the good tissues as well as the bad. So lots of negative side effects to that type of therapy, and it doesn't always work that well. And plus, it also has damages your immune system. in itself. So that's also a big negative for that type of therapy, is it can seriously harm or damage your immune system, make it even worse than it already is. And it's bad. It had to be bad enough uh, for you to get the cancer in the first place. When you add chemotherapy and radiation on top of that, it's going to make it even worse. In fact, I have one of my individuals on my the work associate, former NCIS work associate of mine. I've been told that he went through his chemo treatment, and it damages his immune system to the point where his kidneys shut down. Now he's on dialysis, and it just does not look very good at all. And I'm having a hard time finding him because he went with another agency, and I lost track of him. And he only retired last year, and I just don't have. I had a location for him. I did some background inquiries on him, and I found a location for a last known address for him, but I can't get any response to the inquiries I've been making on him. It could be he's in a care facility where I just don't know where, a medical care facility where he's not getting out, and he's not getting access to his emails, or he's not responding in any way. I don't have any contact with him, so I can't really even get to him to tell him about the LDN therapy that he might want to consider, since he's going downhill. Seems to be going downhill pretty fast, and I'm not sure I can help him at this point or not. But going back to right before I started LDN therapy, I was in really bad shape. I mean, I really had to find something, or I was going to be done for. I was going to be like I say, in a wheelchair, in assisted living, and my future would have been really, really bleak. And on top of that, I had cancer. I'm pretty sure I had cancer, big tumor on my foot, my right foot, and they're I got a monitor for a while, and then they would consider doing a biopsy on it. And initially, they stuck a needle in it to see if it would aspirate, but it did, because it was rock hard solid. It was a big hard solid mass on my right foot. And but lucky for me, that surfaced around the time that I started LDN, and shortly after that, it went away just like that within a couple months. So I was very, very lucky. But that shows you the power of LDN, and that's why it's such a great treatment. It can actually shrink your tumors if you apply the therapy quick enough. And so that's just a quick sample that I had for an experience that I had with a small cancer on my foot, I believe, anyways. But other than that, I think I basically had extremely low endorphins, which is a trademark for people who have autoimmune diseases, but doctors don't really test for that. It's really expensive and difficult test to get done. It's not a routine test. It has to be done in a study or within a laboratory setting. It's not a routine test that a doctor does. But if they did test you for endorphins, most people with autoimmune diseases and cancers, according to Dr. Bahari, who is the founder of LDN therapy, he stated his opinion, or his results of his research, that all these patients would test very, very low for endorphins, which is a sign that your immune system is way below. It's not producing well at all, or it's performing very, very underperforming, basically, and that's leads you open to acquiring all these diseases as you get older and produce less endorphins that boost your immune system. And there's a connection there between endorphins and your immune system that's not fully researched yet. I'm not sure it's ever going to get there, because there's the drug companies are just not interested in this therapy right now, and they're not putting the money into the research. So because there's not any profit that they can see in pursuing this drug, because it's off patent and they can't um, make any money um, in this type of use of that FDA-approved drug. It's FDA-approved at 50 milligrams for treatment of alcoholism and opiate addiction. People who are prescribed this, the drug's called naltrexone, at 50 milligrams tablets. The whole thing, you have to take the whole thing, and basically what it does is it blocks your opioid receptors completely, so you don't feel any good. You don't get any good feelings from drinking or from taking drugs, and so that's supposed to help you get off of those drugs by taking that 50 milligrams. It wasn't a very good program. Because it made the people taking those drugs feel like crap, because it basically shut off all your opiate receptors, so you produced no endorphins at all the next day. So I mean, you felt like crap, basically, miserable, and because you got no pleasure at all from the endorphins. So endorphins are feel-good type, feel-good type molecules, I guess you call them, in your body that circulate during the day to make you feel good. But this therapy is based on not taking the 50 milligram, but they break it down so you take only a small amount, and it's usually 3.5 or 3 milligrams, 3.5 milligrams, or what I take is 4.5 milligrams. So you don't take the 50 milligram, you take the smaller amounts. And what that does is it shuts off the opioid receptors for a brief period of time, a very short, brief period of time. And it tricks your body and says, saying that, hey, I'm short of endorphins. We need to produce more. And it's basically fooling your body. It's a drug that fools your body to produce up to 3 times the number of endorphins that you had been producing the next day. So that basically tricks your body into producing the number of endorphins you should be producing. In other words, it normalizes or modulates your body to normalize the production of endorphins that you should be getting on a daily basis. And that's how it does it. By doing that, it normalizes your immune system, boosts your immune system back up to its normal range, and then you don't get sick anymore. And that's what's happened to me. After about 2 or 3 months on LDN, I noticed that the terrible weakness I had in my legs, that was a primary symptom I was getting from this Hashimoto disease, that progressed that far. It was weakening my legs. It was attacking the nerve parts of my various nerve parts of my leg, making them leak or weak in the muscles. That gradually went away after 2 or 3 months on LDN, as I boosted up the amount of medication from 1.5 to 2, 2.5, and the 3, and then all the way up to 4.5. I got a gradual increase of medication, and as it went up, my leg weakness problems went down, and I got pretty much the leg strength back in my legs. And that's continued to today. Even with the accident I had on my left leg in 2014, I still have pretty good function in that leg. I got the strength back, even though the injury to the leg was pretty severe, because the muscle came off. My upper thigh muscle on my left leg came completely off the kneecap, and they had to reattach it. But I still have pretty good strength in the leg from the LDN therapy, and I can't run anymore very well, but I could definitely walk, at a brisk pace, and I do, because I do my steps every day, and can get around pretty well, just about everywhere, and I get very mobile. I'm able to get very mobile so far. So. It's been a very, very great experience for me, basically saved my life, kept my mobility. I've been able to keep my mobility through this drug. I couldn't have done it otherwise. I think like I say, the doctors, my regular doctors told me there was no hope for me. All I had was the levothyroxine, which was the hormone supplement for the thyroid, which was, the disease was killing off my thyroid. So all they said was just keep taking the levothyroxine. That's all you can do for yourself. And that wasn't doing anything for the Hashimoto's disease, the autoimmune disease. That was just levothyroxine. All that was doing was replacing the hormone because the disease was killing off my thyroid, which wasn't producing the hormone. So it wasn't doing anything for the disease, but it was replacing the hormone that I needed. I still needed the hormone, but it wasn't doing anything for the other aspects of the disease that was affecting, like my legs and my feet and everything like that. And but the other thing is, before LDN, before I started LDN, besides getting rid of the tumor and everything like that, I was always sick before LDN. I had colds and ailments all the time, and that was another sign that I had a weakened immune system. But since LDN, since I've been on LDN on a regular basis for over 4.5 years, just about 4.5 years now, I never get sick at all. Nothing. I mean, how's it possible that I can go without any colds or anything? Except for the brief time I was in the hospital, I had to go off LDN for about a month, and that was excusable because I was off the medication, and I got an infection from a small infection from the sutures in the leg. I had to have a little bit of antibiotics to help clear a little bit of an infection and getting that healed. But that's because I went off the LDN for about a month. So once I went back on LDN, everything, I quickly went off the antibiotics and carried on. And so other than that, throughout the 4.5 years, I've been pretty much healthy and without any ailments at all as far as illnesses. No colds, sore throats, no flus. What's a flu? I don't even get flu shots. I've just been really good healthy. That's the only, so I feel I have an advantage over other people. Like my friends who are coming down, like 7 people who are coming down with all these diseases and cancers because they don't have what I have. I have this LDN, which is bringing my immune system back to normal. They don't have anything like that. They're not taking anything. Their immune system is still faltering, and that's why they're getting sick. Of course, other things contribute to that, like if they smoke or drink or have other bad habits. If they take drugs or anything like that, it could affect their chances of getting some diseases too. But the main thing I think is age and you're not producing endorphins. If they were tested, they'd probably show, according to Dr. Bahari, the founder of LDN, they would likely show that their endorphin production is subpar or low, and that's why they're one of the likely causes that they're getting sick. And you can get LDN. It's hard to get a prescription for LDN because the doctors and the big pharma, which stands for big pharmaceutical companies, they call them big pharma. They're just not interested in this medication because of there's just no big profit in it for them. So they don't want to even spend the money on research for it because they can't seem to. Are not interested in any medications that don't turn a big dollar profit for them. And the doctors just go along with whatever the pharmaceutical companies are pushing or selling. And they get some of them get benefits by they get trips and stuff like that, little gratuities or pens and stuff like that in their offices. You go in their offices, I'm sure you see the handiwork of some of the pharmaceutical reps that have been there. They get their ashtrays or things on their desk, little trinkets from the pharmaceutical reps that were there. You can clearly see them sometimes when you're in there. And some of these guys also get trips to attend conferences and all that kind of stuff. So they definitely have a lot of relationship with these guys, and they pretty much push whatever, not whatever, but a lot of the medications that are promoted by these guys. And if it's not promoted by them, they sometimes don't buy into anything else that a patient's going to want on their own. Something they say they found on the internet. They don't like those buzzwords. The patient tell them they found this medication on the internet. So that's a kind of a turnoff, I think, to them. But there is a way to get LDN. If you can't get them to do the research and find out what a great drug this is, the other way around this thing is you can go to the doctor and say, and there is a way to get LDN. You probably have to get what they call, let me see if I got it in my pocket here. Yeah, it's in here. You can probably get the FDA approved amount of naltrexone. You can get the doctor to give you a prescription for naltrexone, which is the 50 millimeter tablet. Or maybe you can get there might be some other forms you get. Maybe get the liquid form. I don't know. But you can get the tablets here. I have that's what I'm using right now is the tablets. They come in like 50 milligram tablets here. Mine is from a company named Sun in Japan. They're a big manufacturer of naltrexone tablets, 50 milligram. And all you do for this to make it low dose is to put it in a little jar. So, I prefer a colored jar. Keeps it, helps make it fresher and last longer, so light doesn't get into it. And you measure it out into one pill into 50 millimeters of pure or distilled or purified water is best, I think. That's what I use, purified water. And you let it sit in the bottom for a few minutes, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and you stir it up and get it all mixed up very good. And then some of the fillers in there will settle to the bottom. Those are just fillers. You don't have to mess with them once you stir it up completely. The naltrexone is actually going to be stay in the liquid, so you don't have to keep stirring it up every time. But you can just stir it that one time and then put it in the close it up and put it in the refrigerator, and then just dose it out once a day, usually at night. I take mine around 10:30, and use a medicine dropper. And it's when you put it in 50 milliliters of water, you can dose out like I dose out mine in 4.5 milliliters. That's what I take. So I get the 4.5 milliliters using the syringe, and then I put it usually in something. It doesn't the liquid material or dosage does not taste very well. I'll be honest with you. So I mix it up with something like a fruit smoothie or something like that. Mix it in and mix it up, and then just take it that way and make sure you clean the bottom of the smoothie and make sure you get all the medication out of there. And I take it like I said 10:30, and that's pretty much it. And yet one mixture of 50 milliliters of purified water should last you about maybe 11 days worth, probably 10, 11 days, a week and a half or so. And like I said, I get about, I've ordered about, I have enough for about maybe a year or so right now, which is pretty good. And it's a fairly inexpensive medication. And if you get it through a doctor, and you can, to get it through a doctor, you better private message me, and I'll give you the tips on how to get it through a doctor. May not work, but it's good. If you get it as as the FDA approved guidelines, you should be able to get it. I'll talk to you about that, or tell you about that, or write you about that, private message wise, and see if you can get it. I can't guarantee you'll get it, but I think you'll have a pretty good chance of getting, because it's FDA approved amount is 50 milligrams. I think doctors are more receptive to doing it that way than to prescribe to you a low dose amount, because they just don't understand it, and they're not willing to spend the time doing the research for it. You just have to do your homework and understand the drug, and as long as you understand the drug and how it works, and I can give you the books to read, and all the books to read, all the research material you need is really on the website for LDN, and I can give you those source connections for that, or the books that you need to read for that, or the websites you need to look at. It has all that information for you, and but basically all you have to do is settle on a dose, unless you have a thyroid disease like me. And if you do have a thyroid disease like me, you have to start off usually at 1.5 milligrams and then gradually move up. And that's the beauty of getting as 50 millimeter full pill. You can adjust your doses very easily. If you do it through a compound pharmacy with a regular doctor that does it that way, you're going to have to keep working with them to call in the office and having them adjust your dose all the time. Whereas with the big pills, 50 milliliter pills, you can adjust the doses on your own in weekly periods, or every 2 weeks move up to a higher dose until you get to your dose that you feel comfortable at. And like I said, and for my condition, a lot of people don't always get up to the 4.5, but they settle at 3 or 3.5 level, seems like. But it's approved for 4.5 level as a maximum level, and that's what I've settled at. A lot of people with other diseases that don't have to worry about their thyroid kicking up. Sometimes if you take LDN, it will reactivate or recharge your own thyroid disease, and that's the reason you have to lower your thyroid medication sometimes. And so that's why you really have to start out so low, is because they're afraid you're going to turn hyperactive. Your thyroid's going to turn hyperactive because you're starting the LDN medication. But for other diseases where you have MS, Parkinson's, and or any cancers or anything like that, you can probably just start right off at the 4.5 milligrams doses and stay there. You don't have to do the incrementally move up the ladder there. If you start off at 4.5 and for some reason it's too much for you, you can always go back down to 4 or even 3.5. And that's the other beauty of starting off with the 50 milligram tablets, because you can easily reduce your dose on your own pretty quickly, as opposed to having your doctor reorder some pills for you, remake some medication for you. So that's about it. Really, I'll post, besides doing this video, I'll post the most recent articles I found on LDN and cancer, as some new studies came out on LDN and cancer, and what they're saying now about the effectiveness of this treatment for cancer. And I think it's pretty good news. Maybe it'll help to bring more mainstream acceptance of the use of LDN for cancer patients, and because a lot of people are just losing out big time, I think, by not being able to get and use this medication, because as far as I know, LDN is the only drug that can actually halt disease progression, because it's basically halted and even reversed some of my symptoms that I had from this disease, and basically saved my life. I mean, I was going down the tubes pretty fast. And I know I can send you YouTube videos where people have really had remarkable recoveries from cancers. Yeah, even terminal cancers. where they've been given no hope by the regular doctors, and uh, uh, they had to go to a doctor. I think the famous one, most famous one is Dr. Bert Berkson. He's in New Mexico, I believe, and he has a lot of videos on he's saved a bunch of people who've had terminal cancers, like for pancreas and liver cancer, and he saved a bunch of people by combining LDN and alpha lipoic acid, ALA, and some dietary changes with these people, and they actually shrink their tumors, and got them back to work, actually. And so yeah, again, I've been frustrated because I haven't been able to, like those 7 people. I have a list of people that are friends and relatives of mine. Haven't been able to make any headway with them so far. As far as trying this medication. But I did get my brother-in-law on it. Has helped him, and I did get my my cousin Joey O'Connell, and Pat O'Connell. They've been on it, and they've been pleased with it, and for their conditions. And like I say, it's a drug that works. I've been 4 years without any illnesses at all, really. I mean, that's unbelievable. How is that possible? It's not possible. It's the only way it's possible is through LDN. What it's done for me, as far as giving me back my original strength, immune system. And I only wish I had it earlier. If I had it earlier, I probably wouldn't have come down with this terrible disease. It doesn't cure any disease. That's the whole thing. It doesn't cure any disease, but it freezes it. It stops the progression. It freezes the disease, stops the progression, and can reverse some of your symptoms that you had. And that's what it did for me, especially the recent symptoms. Now that my leg weakness symptoms were, that's why I was so determined when I learned about LDN. I wanted to get on it right away, because it's most successful, for what I've learned, on your most recent symptoms. It has a mixed bag on what it can do for your much older symptoms. In other words, if you're already in a wheelchair for several years and you try LDN, I don't think it's going to get you out of a wheelchair. You probably already. It's not that much of a miracle. It can't do that for you. But if you start it in time, you have a good chance of making some dramatic improvements in your life, and saving your life from a lifetime of misery. And that's what I did. I just caught it in time, because I was headed for misery. And now I get to, I just go in for a quick check every 3 months with my doctor. He must think I must be the healthiest guy in the world, because I'm in and out of there every 3 months with virtually no issues for him. And that's a dramatic difference from my other doctor, who saw me before LDN. I was always pestering him. He hated to see me, I think, because of all the problems I had. And I won't go into all of them, but man, I was a nightmare patient for him. And on top of that, he was very, very negative towards LDN, and I wouldn't give me a prescription anyway. So I think he was just happy to get rid of me. And but he didn't understand LDN. He just looked it up as naltrexone, and didn't understand what I was telling him about. It's different, and how it's used to help autoimmune type. He just said, "I'm not going to read any books," or he just had no interest in it. So so I didn't matter to me. I found a real good LDN doctor in Pennsylvania, and that started me on my journey. So I just feel lucky that I don't have the problems that all these 7 people have that I'm looking at the list. It just I feel so sad I haven't been able to help any of them so far, but yeah, I keep trying. And I wish someone's going to listen to me, and I can turn somebody's life around. Anyways, I'll keep trying anyway. So that's the reason I posted this video, and maybe one of those sevens will listen to me, because you know, they may not have any options after a while, and maybe they'll give LDN a try. And I mean, it still might be in time to help them. It's that kind of drug, that powerful of a drug. So anyways, thanks for watching the video. Thanks.